Hi, um, my name is Evelyn Kimandi, and I help women heal and find success through profound mind mastery techniques and um, energy work. I started this journey back in 2022, 2022, and that's another story for another day. But today I'm here to talk about my entrepreneurship journey. Um, the year was 2004 when I was a second year in university back in my country, Kenya. And I remember I used to like having fun. I used to like going out on parties and just um, enjoying myself. And so the one thing you need if you want to party is money. And so I decided that I would be getting some we had this big box that had cookies, and this box had about 300 cookies, and I would get it for 120. So I would sell like two every week and make the profits. But back then, my reasoning was I need money for clothes, I need money to party, I need money for this and this and this. And that's kind of how I started. But moving on to 2016, when I really got into business, it was also because of survival. Because back in my country, it was it is quite hard for women, especially single women, to get jobs without having to compromise yourself. And so me being the person who I was and knowing that I did not want to compromise myself for any of that, I decided to do business as a side hustle to bring in some income. um it was it was not bad. I would say I knew what I was doing and I went for it. But for me, it felt like a survival mode. It felt like I was in that space just to survive because I couldn't get a good job. Fast forward to 2020 when I moved to the United States, and I mean, at my first job, I was getting paid $10 an hour, and I quickly grew the ranks. And by 2021, around August, I was already making almost $40 an hour, working in IT. But what you don't know is that as I was making that $40 an hour, I felt like I didn't belong. I was so scared to speak up. I mean, I just got into a field where um, I had never done anything in IT. I had gone to school, learned IT for 1 year, did different things, and here I was with a very well-paying job in Georgia. So I was happy and I relaxed. I didn't want anything to do with businesses. I didn't want anything to do with CNA, which was my first job when I came to America, because I didn't want to have to take care of anybody. I wanted to just make my money, work from home, make my money, but me being in that space, I was still afraid to speak up. My confidence, I felt like I had confidence, but I feel like my confidence was still on the low, on the down low, because I couldn't bring myself to, like give detailed reports when I felt like a developer was not working with me the way I needed to work with them. And I felt like now looking back, I feel like I was looking down on myself. And for that reason, speaking up to me felt like, do you even know what you're about to say? And so eventually I had to leave that job, and I didn't leave it in a very good way because they needed me to relocate to Alabama, and I knew that I wasn't ready to go to Alabama. And so I got a firing notice on a Monday morning. Like, I didn't even expect it, but I kind of had an idea. So you can imagine, you don't have any other side hustle, you don't have anything you're doing, and suddenly you're out of a job that is paying you very well. And don't forget the most important part. You're a single mother of 2 kids. So really, if you're alone, you can survive. If I'm alone, I can survive. I can find a way to live. But when you have kids, you have to bring it on. They need food when they get home. They need clothes. They need everything has to be provided. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt like I was completely lost. I felt like the world was against me. I felt like everything was crashing, and I felt like I didn't have a purpose. And I remember I stayed out of a job for close to 4 months. But in those 4 months, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna get automation, QA. I'm gonna go ahead and learn Scrum Master. And I went ahead and did these things. And I loved learning these things. I love to learn. So going into this space felt amazing to me. But what I did not know was that all this was preparing me for something bigger. And I stayed in that space just learning and trying to get unemployment, which I did not get. I wasn't getting anything. So I was surviving on my pocket money, like on my savings, which is not fun. And at one point, I just sat and I told myself, you came into this country with a degree. You didn't get a job that, you got good jobs, yes. But at that point, I felt like even if I got a job, I never ever wanted to be in a space where I would feel this lost and scared ever again. You know, being in a position where you don't know if you're gonna be able to provide for your kids in the next few days, you know. But I realized that the first job that I got into for the CNA, and for those who don't know what CNA is a nursing aid assistant, like a nursing aid job. So what you do is you become an assistant to a registered nurse or an LPN. So you help them do things that they would possibly not do, like feeding a patient, changing a patient, making sure just the normal ADLS, the activities of daily living, are taken care of. And so I thought, why not just get that job? I mean, it's easy. I can do it. And I got the job. And the minute I got that job, something told me, if you have made $40 an hour in 1.5 years of being in America, then guess what? The sky is the limit. I mean, we are created as supernatural creatures. And in 2022, around the same time is the time that I was, you know, experiencing breakthroughs in my mind masteries, workshops that I was taking part in. And so in this space, because everything was falling in place, and I just realized it's time for me to get into business. And so I started my healthcare agency. And I promise you, it was very scary at first. It was complete. I felt like I was completely lost. But I said, you know what? I'm going to learn what this is, and I'm going to be the best. But what I didn't know is that learning Scrum Master, which is the equivalent of project management, was what I needed to learn. Learning quality assurance, software quality assurance, was something that I needed to learn because of the next venture that I was going into. I was getting into a business. I was going to need a website. My website had to run the way I wanted, but I didn't want to hire people to keep checking on my website. So I already knew how to do the necessary QA, quality assurance for my website. And the techniques I learned about Scrum are the same techniques I applied to. I took it as a project, and I said, so these are the things I need to do. I need to register an LLC. I need to get a home care license. I need to provide my, everything that needs, my policies and procedures. I did everything. And I also knew I had to go to school. And I went to school, and I got certified as a CNA. But the funniest thing is that this breakthrough brought a lot. This thing that I thought was a failure brought a lot of breakthroughs in my life, because now I was independent, doing what I knew I wanted to do, and I had the knowledge and know-how of how to go about it. So I actually started registering my business end of 2022. beginning of 2023, I started operating, and I only operated in the state of Georgia for 10 months because in November I moved to Washington. And guys, in that 1 year, I was able to get a grant for just learning CNA of $5,000, and putting that aside, I was also able to make 6 figures within 10 months of being in business. And I would not have achieved any of these if I had chosen to get beat up and stay in my, imposter syndrome situation. I had to decide, who do I want to be? Do I want to be the person who got fired because of whatever reason they think, because of whatever reasons they gave me? Or do I want to get out of there and just step into who I want to be? I had to choose, because we have choices in life. You have to choose what you want. You have to choose where you're headed. You have to choose what your goals are, and you have to write them down. And once you have those things, then you know the processes of getting to it, and I teach people how to do it. And before I knew it, I didn't have a reason to be afraid anymore. Now I work from home. I work very few hours a day, maybe 3 to 4 hours a day, working from home or from anywhere that I am, as long as I have internet and my phone or a computer. And I get to do something that is amazing. I get to provide care to seniors who cannot do it. I get to provide care to mentally challenged individuals or disabled individuals. And I do this by providing jobs to people. So it's a win-win for me. I provide jobs, and I get to provide jobs so these people can be helped. And I also do it sometimes by myself, So it's, for me, what I got to learn is that confidence is actually believing in yourself. Confidence is not being afraid of failure, because failure is not, I would say failure is not the opposite of success per se, but failure is actually success, because when you fail, that's where you get your lessons to know what are the steps that I need to do to actually achieve the next thing that I want to achieve. Yeah. And so what I want you to take away from this is that don't give up. Don't ever give anyone, first of all, the power to make you feel like you're lesser of a person. The minute that happens, just know that you need to step out of that box that people have already put you in and be exceptional. And the other thing is that you need to learn how to speak up. I was so afraid of speaking up. I would go into meetings and I'll be like, I have never, ever in my life been that person. And I don't know why I was, but I guess it's the environment. But we have to learn how to speak up, yeah? Because when you speak up, that's when you start to flourish. That's when you start to know exactly what you want and go for the personality that is you. And sometimes your worst fear could actually be the bridge to get you to your dream. Because right now, all I'm doing is helping other people who want to be like me. And honestly, that is not like me per se, but to get into the business that I do. And that for me, it's a dream. It's a dream come true. So keep moving, keep showing up. And when showing up feels like it's not working anymore, then get out of that box and ask yourself, so where am I going? Where do I want to go? And I believe as long as you have a drive, you will get wherever you want to go. You will get wherever you want to be. And you will achieve whatever goal, because the only limitation we have is right here. That's the only limitation we have. Yeah. So join me in this journey, and I hope we get to learn more from each other, and I hope to change somebody's life. All the best, and bye-bye.